you guys are only missing Sam, right?
Right.
Sam it is. 3 minutes with Sam.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm great.
Having a good day so far?
It's called just 3 minutes with Sam.
Yes.
So, back on the Batman, there was sort of a Killing Joke kind of episode with the Joker. Did you ever think that you would actually be able to make an actual adaptation of the Killing Joke now?
Let's see. I don't know if it's weird because it's like, I feel like, when you work on superhero things or you work on like, I guess a good example would be like movies, right? Like, I feel like there are these iconic stories, like The Killing Joke, like Batman Returns, Year One, that people mine from because they're just really good ideas, and so I think even when we were doing it, back whatever iteration it is, you're kind of like, oh, okay, that's a nod to this, But as far as doing like The Killing Joke, I kind of feel like there's so much borrowing that happens, you know what I mean? But when you're actually kind of like, okay, now you're actually going to do The Killing Joke, it's kind of like, okay, but it's been, are we going to care? Because again, there's so many other things that have borrowed from it already that people kind of they already know, like what it's about, how interesting is it? Year One was, I think, a lot harder to build because that was just more setup. But a lot of the stuff that Christopher Nolan had mined like so much already from that. But you've already seen like, the bat, him calling the bats, and the bats coming through the window, and all these things that are pretty much straight from Year One. So I think this one was. I'm starting to go in a direction that maybe you didn't intend for it to go, but I'm still trying to answer the question. But I kind of feel like The Killing Joke as a standalone movie didn't work because I kind of felt like you had to be a Batman fan to appreciate it or even like it, because you immediately jump in and they're having this psychological, philosophical debate in prison, and then this stuff happens, and you're kind of going like, well, why is this happening? And unless you understand Gordon, you understand who Barbara is, you understand who Batman is, and his relationship with Joker, and who Joker is, and why is this conversation necessary? There's so many things that you sort of need to fill in. If you have somebody that's not familiar with the Batman universe, in order for this story to make any kind of sense or resonate at all. So I think that was sort of the difficult thing, but. I think there's still stuff too that we didn't touch upon, but we tried to sort of, with the prologue, at least sort of flesh out the Barbara character. So, you kind of understand who she is. You understand her dynamic with Batman, and that she was a daughter, she was a superhero, she was a hero, and so I think it makes it smoother. I think that kind of stuff was necessary. To sort of tell the story.
And Sam, how much more pressure coming off of you had alluded to the Year One, and then of course The Killing Joke. These are like borrowed off of source material things.
Right.
But like Gods and Monsters, it wasn't any real source material necessarily to go off of.
Right.
As far as pressure, which was more pressure, like coming off of source material that was already here,
right,
or coming in and taking something like Gods Among Us or Gods and Monsters and make that something that everybody wants to see more of.
Right.
Where's the pressure? Gauge for you personally?
Me sort of being a director under a producer, and it wasn't my idea. Gods and Monsters obviously was Bruce's idea.
Yeah, exactly.
The pressure comes from basically, am I doing what Bruce wants? Am I making these characters how he feels like they were supposed to be? The pressure from Killing Joke is obviously the expectations of whatever the millions, billions of fans that sort of read it and want something about it, or this is what I got from it, Yeah. So that expectation is really obviously difficult, but I feel like that's an exercise in sort of of looking at the detail in the source material, but also sort of trying to get the intent of the source material, or sort of trying to figure out why did this have such an impact on people, And again, some of it also is just it's difficult. It's like your favorite band that you liked from when you were in high school or something like that. Everybody says whatever, it's U2 or something like that. Oh, I wish they would keep making the music that they made during war or something like that. Yeah. But they don't really want that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because that's your inception drug to the band. You will always remember, even superheroes. I feel like everybody whenever you got into whoever your favorite superhero is, that story that made you a fan, that will always be like if X-Men, let's just say, like we always have this. I have this argument with my friends, like which X-Men group is the X-Men group,
Yeah.
and it's always the one that you grew up with,
Exactly.
right? And it's different because it's like if you grew up in whatever the 80s, it'll be whatever John Byrne or it'll be Paul Smith or something. But
Yeah.
then you grow up, in the 90s, it's Jim Lee, or is it later? Is it John Romita Jr.?
True.
And again, everybody will argue that no, this is the X-Men, So I don't know. It's hard to please everybody.
Yeah. All
It's-
these works have been really great.
Yeah.
Honestly, me personally,
thanks.
and I think around the world, like everybody's huge expectations as far as just the Killing Joke in general. I think they even pushed it to another day
Yeah.
for the theatrical release,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
because
yeah,
of the expectation behind it.
Right.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
When you're working on something like The Killing Joke, where you guys, Brian was talking earlier about how you kind of set out, other than the material you added,
Uh-huh.
to kind of just literally make as faithful an adaptation as possible.
Yeah.
Does that feel like, creatively, do you feel kind of a little more shackled that when you're doing something like that, or is it a little bit more like freeing? I don't know.
It kind of depends on the depth of it. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like if I see another facet in it and I'm really trying to like pull that out, then it becomes interesting to me. But if there's not really a lot going on and I'm just basically trying to match the comic book, it's very shackling. So in the past, I kind of feel like I think Bruce has evolved also. Like when we're working on like year one and stuff like that, I think Bruce was just like faithful to the comic. That's it. Just if it's on the comic, it's not in the movie. Whereas like back in Public Enemies, it wasn't. Bruce didn't care as much, so it was just sort of like whatever. When you can create, obviously it's funner. Or you have the license to sort of like I don't agree with that. I want to make this. But yeah, like I don't know. It's a hard. I guess I gotta go.
All right.
You've been
Thank you for your
stopped.
time.
Yeah.
Thank you. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys.